Inflation is an important economic issue because it affects the prices of goods and services that people use every day. So in Malaysia, the Consumer Price Index, or we can call as CPI, is used to measure inflation and changes in consumer spending patterns. For our study, we focus on the food and beverage division because it involves essential daily necessities. We use inflation year-on-year data from 2023 until 2025, collected from official Malaysian government sources. In this report, we apply statistical methods such as measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion to better understand inflation patterns and fluctuations.
The objective of this study are to analyze monthly CPI inflation for food and beverage from 2023 until 2025. Besides that, we apply measures of central tendencies such as mean, median, and mode to study the data collected. We also use measures of dispersion including range, interquartile range, quartile deviation, variance, and standard deviation to analyze the spread of the data. In addition, we interpreted the data using graphs such as histogram and OGIF to better understand the trend of inflation in Malaysia.
For data collection, the data was collected from January 2023 until December 2025 from the official website data.gov.my. The data represent inflation year-on-year percentage for the food and beverage sector in Malaysia. In total, there were 36 observations collected. And based on the data, we found that inflation rates were higher in 2023 and gradually become lower and more stable in 2024 and 2025. I'll be moving on to frequency table. So the frequency table is used to organize the data properly. We constructed a frequency table with 6 class intervals. The interval with the highest frequency was 1.1% to 2.0%, which recorded 17 observations. Meanwhile, the interval with the lowest frequency was 5.1% to 6.0%, with only 1 observation. This shows that the most inflation rates during the study period were concentrated at lower percentage range.
Let's we analyze the measure of central tendency, which are mean, median, and mode. These measurements help us understand the central or typical value of the inflation data. First, the mean represents the average inflation rate throughout the study period. The mean inflation rate obtained was 2.66%, which means the average food and beverage inflation rate in Malaysia from 2023 until 2025 was around 2.68%. Next, the median represents the median value of the group data distribution. The median value calculate was 2.14%. This means half of the inflation data fall below 2.14%, and the other half fall above it. Lastly, the mode represents the most frequently occurring inflation value. The mode value obtained was 1.79%, showing that the most common inflation rate during the selected period was around 1.79%. Overall, these 3 measures show that most of the inflation rates were concentrated at lower percentage level, especially in 2024 and 2025.
Next, we analyze the measure of dispersion, which include group range, interquartile range, quartile deviation, variance, and standard deviation. This measurement help explain the spread and consistency of the inflation data. The group range obtained was 6.0%, showing that there was a noticeable difference between the highest and the lowest inflation rates recorded during the study period. Interquartile range. Besides that, the interquartile range was 1.38%, while the quartile deviation was 0.69%. This indicates that the middle 50% of the data was relatively close together and the inflation rate did not fluctuate too extremely. Last, we have variance. So, the variance obtained was 2.27% and the standard deviation was 1.51%. This value showed that the inflation data experienced moderate fluctuation throughout the 3 years and remained relatively stable overall.
This slide shows the histogram of the group inflation data. From the graph, we can see that the highest frequency is concentrated within the lower inflation classes, especially between 1.1% and 2.0%. The histogram also shows that only a few observations were recorded at higher inflation ranges. This indicates that most inflation rates throughout the study period were relatively low and stable. This slide presents the OGIF or cumulative frequency graph. Based on the graph, the cumulative frequency increases steadily as the upper boundary increases. Most of the data falls below the 3.0 inflation range. This graph helps us understand the distribution of the data more clearly and shows that inflation rates gradually stabilize throughout the selected years.
In conclusion, this study successfully analyzed the monthly CPI inflation for food and beverage in Malaysia from 2023 until 2025 using inflation year-on-year data. From the calculations, the mean inflation rate was 2.66%, while the median and mode were 2.14% and 1.79% respectively. These results show that most inflation rates were concentrated within the lower percentage range. The measures of dispersion also showed that the inflation data experienced moderate fluctuation and became more stable over time, especially in 2024 and 2025. Overall, this study helped us gain a better understanding of Malaysia's inflation trends and showed how statistical methods can be applied in analyzing real economic data. Thank you.